Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is May 3rd, 2025, and Barcelona today got the job done against Real Valladolid, winning 1-2 and getting three very important points in this La Liga title race. This is the post-match live analysis. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mo. This is the post-match live analysis where we analyze Barcelona matches as soon as they usually end. Today, we're doing it several hours later, but nonetheless, I'm ready to talk about today's match where Barcelona defeated Real Valladolid 1-2. Now, as you know, I'm currently out of the country. I'm not in my YouTube studio. This is why you see this weird background, but don't worry because tomorrow I will be back home, back in my YouTube studio. So it will be back to your regularly scheduled videos and, of course, your regularly scheduled podcasts, which are my favorite part of every week. Having said all that, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and let's talk about today's match because, ladies and gentlemen, today Barcelona got the job done. They got the job done beating Real Valladolid 1-2. And it was a weird match where it first seemed like it was going to get a little bit difficult for Barcelona because Real Valladolid scored that very early goal, getting ahead of Barcelona 1-0. But as we've seen time and time again, Barcelona were able to pull off a comeback, scoring two goals, one by Rafinha and one by Fermín López, taking this home these three very important points, which of course will be crucial in this La Liga title race because, of course, now Barcelona are 7 points ahead of Real Madrid, who tomorrow they will be playing against Celta Vigo. It's not going to be an easy match for them. And by the way, if Real Madrid lose tomorrow, it will stay a 7-point difference. Then the next fixture, the next La Liga fixture, it will be El Clásico, Barcelona versus Real Madrid at Montjuic. And if Barcelona win El Clásico, that would mean that Barcelona will be 10 points ahead of Real Madrid with only 3 matches left in La Liga. You know what that means? That means that La Liga would be mathematically over. That means Barcelona would become La Liga champions against Real Madrid in their home stadium. And, Abi, that would be huge. Why? Because, I can't remember, at least in modern times, a time that's actually happened where Barcelona won La Liga by defeating Real Madrid in their home stadium. That's one. But two, let's not forget, we won the Spanish Super Cup by defeating Real Madrid in the final. We won Copa del Rey by defeating Real Madrid in the final. So winning La Liga by defeating Real Madrid in our own stadium in El Clásico, I think that would be absolutely huge. But of course, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Real Madrid would have to lose tomorrow. And of course, Barcelona would have to win El Clásico match. But I mean, I think that's a pretty cool thing to imagine, to hope for, to wish for, whatever you want to call it. But anyways, let's not talk about Real Madrid. Let's talk about today's match because today Hansi Flick did what we all expected him to do, which was to rotate heavily because, of course, on Tuesday, we have that second leg of the semifinals of the Champions League against Inter Milan. It's currently drawn 3-3. So during that semifinal, it's do or die. We're going to have to win in order to make it to the final. So Hansi Flick rotated heavily today. I expected him to rotate a lot. I did not think he was going to rotate this much because out of the 11 players fielded, only one was a starter, which was Pedri. The other 10 were all not starters. Of course, Ter Stegen is usually a starter, but this season he hasn't been because he's been injured for 8 months. But only one player started today. That's the usual starter. The other 10 all coming off the bench. And this is the lineup that Hansi Flick chose. Ter Stegen, after an 8-month absence, after that serious injury to his knee, the surgery that he had to get done in order to repair that torn ligament, was back under the 3 posts. And it was really, really exciting to see our captain back on the field. In front, we had the Ronald Araujo right next to Andreas Christensen, someone else who's also been out of action for almost 8 months. The two of them coming in to give rest to Pau Cubarsí and Iñigo Martinez. Hector Ford taking the place of the injured Jules Koundé. I don't think Hector Ford is going to be playing against Inter Milan. My guess is probably Hansi Flick is going to opt out for Eric Garcia, and I think this could be a good indication of that, right? Because otherwise he would have started Eric Garcia and he would have rested Hector Ford. Instead, he brought in Hector Ford, I think, in order to have Eric Garcia playing that position. Of course, we never know with Hansi Flick. Then Gerard Martin playing on the left back, and of course, we do have Alejandro Balde, who is fit and is expected to come back against Inter Milan in the second leg. So right there, our whole defense will be fresh. Chesney, Eric Garcia, Pau Garcia, Inigo Martinez, Alejandro Balde, all rested, ready to face off against Inter Milan. And then let's move on to the midfield, because we had Pedri, who I would have preferred he rested, but nonetheless, he only played one half. And then Gabi coming in for Frankie de Jong, giving him some rest. And of course, Frankie de Jong did play the second half, but given that Pedri and Frankie each played one half versus playing, a final against Real Madrid in the Copa del Rey, which is what happened during the first leg against Inter Milan. They had two of them had just come back from playing a final. Now they're going to be facing off against Inter Milan, only playing one half each. So I think our midfield should be good. In front of them, of course, our attacking line, Dani Rodriguez making a debut and giving some rest to Lamine Yamal. Fermin Lopez giving rest to Dani Olmo. And Ansu Fati giving rest to Rafinha. And of course, Pau Victor giving rest to Ferran Torres and to Robert Lewandowski, who is expected to have some minutes. So right there, our entire team is going to be fresh, rested, ready to face off against Inter Milan. Now, the match itself, weird match. It started very, very weird with that early goal by Real Valladolid. But I don't think there was much to do there. It was one of those very, very weird goals. The Real Valladolid player shoots it. It bounced off the foot of Araujo and Ansu Fati. It takes a really, really weird turn. No one expects the ball to go in. It ends up going in. Right there, Real Valladolid 1, Barcelona 0. To be honest, I was not worried. A, Real Valladolid are bottom of the table, and B, because we've seen Barcelona get scored on pretty early time and time again, and they were always able to manage a comeback, and that's exactly what happened. Now, I do have to say, as far as the lineup, Dani Rodriguez, I was very, very excited to see him. When I saw his name in the lineup, I was really excited to see what he has. Of course, I did do a reactions video to his highlights. We've all seen he's a really promising player with lots of potential. He has great dribbling, great 1v1, passing, shooting from inside the box, outside the box. He can play from the right. He can play from the left. We've seen he's really, really good. He's a big difference maker for Barca Athletic. Today, very excited to see him in the first team. Unfortunately, he got injured. He only played like 30-some minutes. But I have to say, during those 30 minutes, I did not hate what I saw. I saw some flashes of brilliance here and there. But I think Flick made a little bit of a mistake here because on one hand, yes, this is the kind of match you expect Dani Rodriguez to play because this is the match what we needed rotations. But at the same time, to give a player from Barca Athletic a debut while being surrounded by 9 other bench players, I think that was a little bit risky because if you're going to bring a player from Barca Athletic and give him a debut, you want to surround them usually by starters. Why? Because if the starter's there, it's their responsibility to carry the team. It's their responsibility to give the team a win. And that takes the pressure off the player who's debuting, allowing him to, play more freely without that pressure. But today we have Ansu Fati on the left, who's played like 5 minutes all season. We have Pau Victor in the center forward, who's played 5 minutes all season. We have Dani Rodriguez, who's debuting. So that kind of put the pressure on these three to get the win, which, of course, as far as Dani Rodriguez, at least, he shouldn't have gotten that pressure because, again, he's debuting for the first time. But nonetheless, I saw the right mentality in Dani Rodriguez. I saw the right attitude. He was constantly trying. He was trying to dribble players. He was trying to win 1v1s. He was trying to passes. He was trying shooting. I really liked what I saw. Again, it wasn't superb, amazing. Oh, my God, he blew my mind. But for a match that he was debuting, I think I liked what I saw. Other players I want to talk about, Gerard Martin. Really good match by Gerard Martin. Kind of redeeming himself. He had 2 bad matches, one against Inter Milan, another one against Real Madrid. Today, he had a really good match. In fact, he won the MVP. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that we would see Gerard Martin win the MVP of a match? And I think this shows kind of like how Gerard Martin could be a good rotational player. Maybe not a player you start against teams like Real Madrid and teams in the Champions League, but against bottom-of-the-table teams, maybe against mid-table teams, I think Gerard Martin is a good option, right? So he could be a good rotational player where you can rest Alejandro Balde, bring in Gerard Martin against weak teams, And then when you go back to playing important matches, important opponents, you bring back Alejandro Balde. I think that's a good option because I think we're starting to see the limitations of Gerard Martin, where he really shines against smaller teams, not so much against bigger ones. But hey, you need players like those too, right, in order to give those your starters some rest. Another player I want to highlight, Ansu Fati. I think it's clear as day that Ansu Fati does not have the level to be a Barcelona player. Today was another confirmation of that. And if anyone who doesn't want to see it, it's because you don't want to see it. Now, when I criticized Ansu Fati's attitude because he threw his training vest, he was kicking things, I was like, that's not the way to act. People got all mad. They're like, oh, Mo, you hate Ansu. It's because he's black, blah, 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 blah. Apparently, criticizing someone, it just means you hate him. That's just the society we live in today. People just cannot handle different opinions. They automatically think, oh, you must hate him. No, I don't hate him. For the longest time, I was saying, I really hope Ansu Fati can rediscover his form because he's an academy player. He came up through La Masia. We all saw how much promise he had when he started playing. He was absolutely killing it at 18 years old. His dribbling, his speed, his explosiveness, his shots. I mean, he was an absolutely amazing player. And to see, his career just being derailed like that by injuries, I kept saying, I wish he could rediscover his form. But I think it's clear as day. That's not going to happen. At least it's not going to happen at Barcelona. Today was clear day. And the problem is not just his ability where you can see that he just doesn't have the level anymore. You can see it mentally. The player has zero intensity. He doesn't press. He doesn't track back. He doesn't help with the defense. He's just there. He's kind of like Messi, where Messi walks around kind of looking for an opportunity and then he explodes. That's kind of Ansu without the skill, of course, of Messi, because Messi can't justify walking around because then when he does get the ball, he scores a goal. Ansu Fati cannot do that. And today, I think it was clear as day that Ansu Fati just does not have the level to be at Barcelona. And I think Flick saw it clearly because he had to bring him out during the halftime. Other players I would like to talk about, of course, is Christensen. It was really good to see Christensen back. I mean, I think he did his job. He did his job well. It wasn't like, amazing, because at the end of the day, Real Valladolid didn't really do much. But it was really good to see Christensen back. It was really good to see Ter Stegen back. Yes, that goal was kind of silly, but I don't think any goalkeeper would have expected the ball to do the kind of weird turn that it did. But besides that, he had two or three really good saves. And at the end of the day, he didn't really have much work to do either. Lamine Yamal, unfortunately, did have to come in during the first half. I would have liked to see Lamine Yamal get rested a little bit more. But unfortunately, with the Dani Rodriguez injury, he had to come in. Rafinha also had to come in. I would have liked to see Rafinha get rested more, but being down 1-0, we couldn't just, risk it. So he had to come in as well. And we also had to see Dani Olmo come in. But the good news is that even though those players had to come in, and I would have rather see them rested, A, they didn't play the full match. And B, even when they did play, I didn't really see them exhausting themselves that much because, they didn't need to, right? It's Real Valladolid. The match didn't really require that much intensity. So I think despite these players having to come in, I think they're going to be fine for the Inter Milan match. Otherwise, besides that, I don't really have much to say. I mean, again, the first goal was a weird goal. After that, there wasn't really much to say. It was just Barca. Real Valladolid count just disappeared. 2 goals, 3 very important points. Great cross by Gerard Martin, by the way, to Fermin Lopez. That great assist for that goal. Gerard Martin almost came up with a second assist with that cross with his head to Lamine Yamal, where he went to push it in, and Real Valladolid defender somehow, some way got him out. But again, not much to say about this match. We got the win. We got 3 very important points. We're 7 points ahead of Real Madrid. So now the pressure is on Real Madrid, who do have a difficult match to play tomorrow against Celta Vigo. Anyways, that is all I have to say for today's match. Let me know you guys' thoughts and opinions in the comment section. And then, of course, tomorrow, like I said, I will be back home. So tomorrow is back to regularly scheduled videos and podcasts. I will be going live in a few more minutes because, of course, I do have to cover the news. This was just to talk about the match. We also have to talk about FC Barcelona news. I will see you in that video in a few minutes. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. And as always, Visca Barça.